It is October 21st, which, unfortunately, is the last stream in October for the Bunker Underground. That's right, there is another week. However, as I mentioned last week, no Bunker Underground next week. So this is, in fact, the early Halloween for RSG's The Bunker. Ooh. Delete, you gotta join with like your scariest like ghost noise.
Yeah, I've never really liked ghosts. I think it's because ghosts really don't like me. Not to steal a RoboCop reference.
Okay.
Anyone got that?
What about your best zombie noise?
Do I have that? Do I have that in the tank? I don't think I really have that in the tank. Be like, no.
That's
awful.
I like that.
That almost sounds like me talking to my boss. What do you think about this idea?
Yeah. Yes. So we are here doing kind of an early Halloween, and I was in the thumbnail. Where did I put it? Hold on, I have to go.
Uh-oh.
No, I had left my mask over there, but I was Ghost in the thumbnail for the video. Again, because I was Ghost last year, so I was like, the Ghost just kind of works. Considering I'm always wearing a hoodie, it's like, yep, I Ghost is like my spirit hero in this game. He just
I feel like my costume's still down. Well, I think I put it all over the house. It was downstairs, then it was like I think I put it in the garage. I mean, it's a character that they removed from the game, basically. So
yeah. Well, you got it in while you could. It was relevant at the time.
Yeah. Yes, it was. It was solid. I thought it was solid.
I think so. I agree. I think it was too. But welcome, guys, to another episode of the Bunker Underground, where we go through some of the news and notes for State of Survival, the zombie killing mobile game, and then we we just have some fun with you guys when there isn't too much going on, or even when there is stuff going on. We try to have fun with you guys, and we go on cosigns about different things, so you guys can easily distract me because I have issues and get easily distracted.
Yeah, that happens.
Hi, Bussa. Bussa saying too late now. You're live. No, we were working together on that intro. That was the intro. Ooh. Oh, sorry. There you go. I don't want to see any of you in a Summer Beach Jane costume. No offense. Are you sure? Is that not why you got me said pink inflatable pool there, Bussa? I mean, I'm just saying. Was that not the reason?
It wasn't for your children. It wasn't for your children, Finn.
No, I have no children. Hush you. I have no children. Don't you start with that too. No. I have no children. Awful. Just awful. No. But yeah, no, I will not be doing the inflatable pool in a Jane outfit. That's not happening. No, I'm not doing the Borat Mankini either. I'm wearing my normal swimsuit. However, brings up a good point. We are next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, October 30, will be a 24-hour stream to kick off our American Cancer Society fundraiser. We do an annual fundraiser each year for a charity. We are once again partnering up with the American Cancer Society and their Gamers vs. Cancer group, and we are going to be raising money once again for the American Cancer Society, hoping to bring an end to cancer because cancer sucks.
Yeah, cancer does suck.
And cancer doesn't care that COVID is going on. Cancer was still, unfortunately, wreaking havoc. And in fact, on the people with cancer, it was even worse. So yeah, we got to get rid of cancer as quickly as possible. And so we are doing everything we can. So we're once again partnering up with the ACS. And I will be streaming for 24 hours, potentially a little bit more, on October 30, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So 8 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be starting. And then we will see in what kind of awful shape I am in for Sunday. That's
I mean, so you stream for I mean, obviously you have bathroom breaks.
yeah. I'll put like a little screen to like go use the bathroom, but otherwise I will be here.
Cue videos. Hey, watch this 3-minute video.
Exactly. I'll have the ACS videos, and when the ACS videos are running, I will be, using the facilities as quickly as possible. The goal is to not need to go number 2 because I don't want to rush that.
That's a tough one.
So the goal is to go early, and I may Imodium up to constipate myself, and then then I'll be good for the rest of the day.
Constipate yourself and then laxative yourself later on, just to get yourself back on schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the type of discussion. This is adult discussion right here. If you thought you were coming here for some childish discussion about games, you are wrong. This is like true adult conversation going on here.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like carefully pick your meals, because you can't have anything too risky.
No,
nothing spicy.
Nothing spicy.
Not like you're banging out coffee and a cigarette in the morning to just kind of like get yourself up and going, because that'll end the streak really quick.
I'm gonna be like delirious by the time that like actual Halloween comes around, because it's gonna go until October 31st, right? So as soon as like, oh my god, I'm gonna be like delirious during Sunday, and then I'm going trick-or-treating with my nephew-in-law. So
wow.
And that's in the evening. So basically, as soon as the stream is done, I am gonna pass out. And then I will have to make sure I set an alarm so I wake up to go trick-or-treating with my nephew-in-law. So it will be fun.
Were you like Red Bull or like 5-hour energy? I can't imagine staying up for 24
I don't use
hours
any
right
of that.
now.
Nope.
Wow.
I will not have any of that.
Wow.
Just pure force of will. That's what it's going to be.
Just That's impressive.
Well, let's see if I can do it. And of course, people in chat definitely helps. So please make sure to drop by. I don't care at what time you guys drop by. Again, it'll be 24 hours, potentially 28 hours. There will be the opportunity to add 4 more hours to the stream. But yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm trying to get together people that are playing some of the different games so we can do, because I like multiplayer games anyways. So I'm looking for people and setting up the game schedule. So once I have that, I will kind of post that in the RSG Discord. This Saturday, I do plan on making the announcement about that, so you guys can be on the lookout for that. And if you're not in the Discord, !Discord in the chat. We'll bring up the link. Give it a second though. Our Stream Elements bot is a little slow on the YouTube side. So it will post the link for the Discord if you guys don't have it already, or it's going to be in the description of the video. So make sure you check that out and head to the Discord. Great community, whether it's for State of Survival or whether it's for any other game. We have a great community there, and I'm actually working on updating the Discord to kind of clean it up a little bit. So all kinds of fun stuff happening now. I am busy. It's just lots of busy work, Delete. Lots of busy work.
Yeah. I mean, you're just in that point of life where you're just gonna get nonstop busy work.
I know. I have work.
I remember I was like 19 and like, can't wait until I just get a full-time job and I don't have to like worry about like, what's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen here? And life would just slow down for me. That did not happen. That's probably one of my worst predictions of my life. Was the fact that I thought life would slow down.
But the difference is that when you're in school, you have nothing to show for it. At least when you're an adult, you have an income.
True.
Now, granted, you now have to organize how you're spending said income, but that's still, you're getting paid to do the same stuff that you were doing basically for free when you were a kid. That is the only benefit. The time requirements have actually just increased as you grow older, but at least you have an income. Like, that's what I've come to the realization about.
Yeah. The more you have, the more you have to take care of.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's true. Oh, so speaking of which, we were talking about it in the Discord earlier. We'll eventually get to State of Survival. Just relax.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it in the Discord earlier. So I don't know if you have a story about making a 911 call as a kid, Delete. I have one.
Oh my god.
So
yes, I have one.
Oh,
but
so
I'd
we
love
are
to hear
sharing
yours
that.
first.
Yeah, we are sharing these today. So when I was younger, I think I was around like 9 or something like this, right? Corded phones were still there. Cordless phones were really not a thing yet. And I got one of those like big phones that had like 20, I think it was like 24 speed dial buttons. Right? It was one of those that had like the big number pad on the side, is that the handle, and then up top it had like 24 buttons. It had like 3 columns of I believe 8, and it was just your speed dial buttons. And I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. I don't have to remember my friends' names. I can just write their name on that piece of paper and put it under that plastic by removing that cover. Like that was like the greatest thing ever. So I was organizing it. Yeah. It was. That was like the phone at the time. I was so happy. So, of course, I go in there. I start adding the names. And, like, I write it on the paper as soon as I add it in the number. And I'm going through, right? And then I'm like, you know what? I need to make sure I keep some emergency numbers on here just in case something happens. Because I need to be able to quickly dial, like, 911 if something bad happens. So, in the bottom right, I program 911. Okay? So I'm like, okay, so let's test it out. So I press the button and I hear and then I hang up. I'm like, okay, 911 works. Next thing I know, like about 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. It was the police. My mom is like trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and
not a great response time, by the way.
It was about 10 minutes, and the police comes and knocks on the door, and my mom answers. She's like, "Hello." It's like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, why?" Like, well, we got a call and a hang up on here, so we weren't sure if everything was okay or not, so we had to come and check it out. And then she's like, I don't think anyone called. She's like, yeah, we definitely got a call from this. And I'm like hiding upstairs as I'm hearing this. And then my mom yells for me. And I'm like, yeah? Like, did you dial 911? I said, I thought I hung up before it dialed. And then the police officer is like,
at least you like semi-fessed up to it.
Yes, I did semi-fess up to it. So the police officer is like, well, I still need to walk around the house just to make sure, because I guess I have to make sure that there's not anyone like holding you hostage and all that kind of stuff, right? So literally, the police is doing his job. He's very friendly. I think he was like trying to make conversation and stuff. And like he's walking around the house. He goes through the downstairs. He goes through the upstairs. Do you get this feeling that your head is going to explode? Because I had a feeling of my mom just like burning like straight into my head, and I felt like my head was just about to explode. Like the eyes were just so bad. I felt like my head was gonna explode. Because while he's walking around, I'm just like standing upstairs, just like watching as he goes through, not paying attention, like intentionally not looking at my mom, because I can feel her eyes just staring. I'm like, uh-oh, that was not a good decision.
It's not a great time.
No, but so here's the best part though. So a week later, okay, the police comes knocking up at the door again and asks, "Oh, did somebody dial 911?" Again, right? But different cause this time. This time it had nothing to do with me. By the way, hi Ronnie, how are you? We're telling our fun police stories here from when we were a kid. So this actually makes me feel better, because then I realized it wasn't just me that can do these kind of things. So if you're not familiar with international calls, okay, they usually have a different area code. Like US is just 1, but other countries and stuff have different different numbers. So to call India, it's actually 011 91 and then whatever their area stuff is. So I think my aunt had called and it's like 011 91 128 7 something blah 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 blah, right? Turns out our phone can't hold all those digits with redial. My dad did not know this, so apparently it cuts off that 011 and starts off with 91, and then her number happens to be 911287 something or other. So it starts off by dialing 911. So my dad calls, like just hits redial because we got a missed call from my aunt, and my dad calls, and all of a sudden the police answers. My dad's like, oh no, I'm sorry, this is the wrong number, and hangs up. So he's like, oh, okay, nothing happened. Then the police came, they're like, we got a call for 911.
But you've already been red flagged.
Yeah.
You've already been red flagged.
The house has already been red flagged. So my dad like accidentally called 911. Again, my mom answers the door. There's a police on the other side of the door. And she's like, we got a missed call from someone at this residence. And my mom immediately looks at me. I'm like, no, I haven't done it. And then my dad is like, yeah, I think it's because of the India call. It doesn't register it. And so again, it's a different police officer this time. Has to walk around the house to make sure that everything is okay. So within the span of like 2 weeks, these two police officers had to do like a full inspection of our house to make sure nobody was being held hostage. One because of a speed dial, and another time because of an international call to India.
Oh, see, mine was purely, it was just me being like, I think I was probably like my mom's 78 years old, and she like remembers this story as if it was yesterday, apparently, because she was making fun of me for it. She goes, do you remember when you dialed 911 and wouldn't fess up to it? And I go, what? She's like, you don't remember that when the cops came to the front door, and it was like my dad had just gotten out of the shower. I was already asleep. My mom was like at the top of the stairs. She's got like her nightgown on, and the cops are at the front door, and they're like, someone definitely called 911 from this address. And my dad's like, no. And it was like, yeah, it was about a half hour ago. And my dad's like, half hour ago?
30 minutes, that's a worse response time than mine.
Seriously. Because I think everyone's got one of these stories of like prank 911 calls. You know how rare it is that someone's like able, like an emergency to call 911 and they're like, oh, I gotta hang up. I can't even say anything. And some like senator or congressman somewhere was just like, we have to make it a law that if we ever get anyone picking up and hanging up, that we have to go to the house. And it's just like, okay, all right.
It makes sense.
It does make sense, but if you can call 911, you can at least leave it like on, or whatever, at that point. Whatever, regardless. My mom's making fun of me. She goes, can you tell me the truth now? Can you tell me the truth that you dialed 911? And sure I did. I would dial 911 just to see what would happen. Not like, oh my God, my dad's hitting my mom or anything, or like we have someone kidnapped in our basement or anything. It was just like, I don't know, whatever it was. It was like, does this really work? I feel like that's my motivation behind it. Does it really work? Nah, it doesn't work. And it was like, now what operator? And I was just like, oh. And that was that. So they come to the house. My dad's like, no, you're more than welcome to like look around if you want. There's nothing going on. We were all basically about to go to sleep. The house is like completely pitch black. The guy's like in the driveway and he's got his like light on. So the entire neighborhood was just going. The next day it was like, hey, I'm trimming the hedges and I don't have hedges. What's going on? We saw the police at your house. Like next thing you know, it's like everyone thinks that like my dad's a wife beater or like, I'm getting abused or some random story that's running through everyone's head. My mom was just like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. She was like, I was like, Mom, I was like, I don't even remember that. I do remember the cops coming, but I don't remember my motivation. I was like, I probably did. I was like, I don't know. I don't know why I would do it. She goes, yeah, you had quite the imagination back then. And I was like, wow, I was 6 years old or whatever I was. She goes, yeah, I guess. I was like, there's something that happened forever ago. My mom's still holding on to it. Purely because it was like, now the neighborhood thinks that we're got something going on that we don't have going on. So yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It's just like, back in the day, it was just like, now if you call 911, the first thing in like all the movies are like, I have no idea where you are. When you called 911 and you had a hard dial line on, it was like, I know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
I'll be right
there.
Now
it's like you have to wait for like 5 minutes so they can triangulate your position with the towers and everything.
Yeah,
definitely becomes more of a pain to track it down.
It was like, wow, all right.
Yeah. If you guys have a 911 story in chat, make sure you guys post it too. We'll read them.
Drop it on us.
Yeah. Just it came up in the Discord and I'm like, I will share it on the SOS stream. It's just funny because a week later my dad did it too. It made me feel better.
That's nice. At least that's like a legitimate reason. Yeah. Not just, I wonder if this works. My teacher's been talking about this forever and I've never tried it.
I mean that is a reason in and of itself to at least try. I mean, just to make sure it works. Like, will the police show up? What is their response time? I mean,
yeah, thank God. I've never had to call 911 besides when I wanted to see if it worked. I've never been in a situation where it's like, oh my God, they're called cops.
I've done it for like traffic accidents, but it hasn't been like a true emergency.
I don't even think they want you to do that for traffic accidents.
They don't,
anymore.
But I don't have the number for like the local PD on my phone. So it's just like, how am I going to call the local PD to come out? So I have to dial 911. But then I usually start with, like, I always tell them, because this happened twice.
This is an emergency.
Yeah, this is not an emergency. Just there was a hit and run and I'm here. And they're like, okay, like, we can see where it is. But yeah, but you've never called 911, Eric B? Okay, so you need to figure out a reason to do it. No, I'm joking.
I'm telling you, this is a lot more common.
I'm joking. These were when we were kids, though. Minus like the accidents where I call 911 just to have like the police come over and do like a report. Both times it had like nothing to do with me. The first time is when I lived in Queens. I used to have a little thing in my cup holder that was one of those like change things. So there was like the compartment for like the quarters, nickels, and dimes that were like spring loaded. But I left it in my cup holder. I came to my car. The passenger side rear small window, not the main window, but that little like stationary small window, was busted open. And my car was
one to replace. Yeah, the tougher one to replace.
Yeah, cheaper but tougher. Yep. So they broke that and broke into my car, like rifled through everything, but literally ended up only taking that change thing.
The change.
Yeah. So like I called the police and they came out. It was like 2 hours. I told them it wasn't an emergency, and then of course it's New York, so it takes forever. But it took like a couple hours, and they came and they're like, yeah, we can write a report so you have it, but chances are we're not going to be able to find these people. It's probably just someone that was drunk or needing a drug fix and they just needed the money. They saw it, they took it, they left. And so that's all it was. So like I got the police report, but that was it. Like there was nothing for me to really do. I didn't see who it was or anything. So
I feel like the most interesting 911 story, it doesn't really have to do with like a crime, even though I think they've made it a crime now. There was, when you get a new phone and it allows you to make emergency calls, even though you haven't set it up yet. It's like not even under your name. It's nothing's going on, but you can still make an emergency call on it. Well, someone decided to go ahead and exploit that. And they made, I feel like the number was over 1,900 911 calls.
Ooh.
And 911 couldn't really do anything about it. They couldn't triangulate the phone because there was no SIM card attached to it. So it wasn't really going to a cell tower. Yeah. And even the 911 call would go to like a different I guess blanket channel. I don't know really how that worked, but they would call up and call and report random things, like bomb threats, random stuff nonstop, and it was just like, man, that's so awful.
Yeah.
I think they eventually found the person, but it was just like, and then it became like became like a thing where it was like, no, if you just prank call 911, that's like a serious thing.
No, it is.
It's like a snap on the wrist.
Criminal thing, yeah, to do that.
Yeah.
Like if you're a kid, you can maybe get away with it, or if you have like a legitimate excuse, like my dad had, like certain things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eric B is saying when I was a kid playing on the phone. Yeah, that's the stories we were telling. That we were telling our like kid stories. I have a couple of adult times where I called 911, but that was legitimate because I needed a police report. Because the first time was that broken window, and then the second time was somebody hit and run on the highway. So like I had to call the police to get a police report. But again, I don't have like the local PD number just handy, especially since I live in Orlando and that accident, like the hit and run, actually happened in Tampa. So I'm like, there's no way I have Tampa PD even if I need to. So it's like 911 is the number you call. It's not the best option, but they understand that one. Like because there's like, how do you know the number for the local PD?
Isn't there like, I thought there was another 3-digit number no matter where you were. There was like a non-emergency. I thought it's not like, like how 411 used to be a thing. Is 411 even a thing?
411 is still a thing. Yeah, you can get the thing. You can get like the information for that.
Wow. I always just remember, it's like, this is so stupid. Why doesn't it just transfer?
Yeah, I know.
You always tell you to like the number and you'd have to write it down. Like, I could write it down. I wouldn't need your service.
Part of me says like we should just go to New Jersey and just like test out 911 to see if we can get Nikki.
Oh, that would be funny.
She will hate us. She will hate us forever.
That would be hilarious. Just getting attitude from Nikki.
Why are you calling me? This is an emergency line. Yeah, we just wanted to talk to you. Now is not a good time.
Seriously.
Ronnie is saying my wife called 911 one time when she wasn't on her mental meds. She cussed them out. They're usually not really happy about being cussed out. Just they're not.
Yeah.
There's been
they probably deal with it a lot though.
They do. I'm sure they do. There was also somewhere it was like, these people are so dumb. Like, so there's a radio show I listen to. I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's a local radio show in the morning when I'm just like driving, and they'll have like weird news. And I'm in Florida, so there's a lot of Florida man weird news just in general.
I just feel like Florida is weird.
Yeah, news. Florida is weird news. But there have been, I think in the last like 2 months, at least 5 different stories about somebody calling 911 because they messed up their fast food order. Like legitimately, they'll call 911 and be like, I'm trying to tell them to give me my fries, but they're not giving me the fries. Like, sir, this is an emergency line.
Or they've given the fries, but they're cold.
Or they're cold or something. Yeah, oh my God. Just calling because of fast food. There have been like 5 of them that I've heard in the last 2 months. It has been ridiculous. Florida is
That's awful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Eric B, do you guys remember when there were dating numbers that you could call? It was the first Tinder. Yes. And they charge you like $5 for the first minute and $1 or $5 for like the first like 2 minutes and then $1 for every other minute. I never partook in that. So I'm at least happy about that. But there are plenty of stories of people that have partaken in that and unfortunately spent way too much money. Like way too much money.
Yeah. Because those things, I mean, that was real money really fast. That was like being on the internet too long. When it used to go over as like a fax, it used to go over as like a fax, like, like amount of money for whatever. And it was just like, it was like 16 times your normal bill,
Eric B is saying, no, not those. Eric B is saying, no, not those ones. These ones were free and local. No, I do not recall free and local numbers that were like
free and local?
Tinder dating.
No, I didn't see that.
I only knew of the ones where you paid. Finn was a big fan of the 900 calls. No. 1-800
Only the
collect.
ones where.
Only
Only the ones where you
collect,
like.
and then it was like, what? I love the commercials because it's true. And then it's like 1-800 collect.
Like,
tell us who is
Wharton.
calling. My name is. We had a baby. It's a boy. And then of course they call on the other side. You have a collect call from. We had a baby. It's a boy. Do you accept?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Oh, they had a baby.
Yeah. Practice is done. Pick me up.
Mm-hmm. Those were the collect calls. I still remember. There were those. Not 900 numbers. It was the 1-800 collect. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. The 900 numbers were classic. Those are crazy commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the fact that it was like, is that, or you were doing the Dionne Warwick like hotline for like telling your future.
Oh yeah. Oh, Miss Cleo. Oh my God.
Miss Cleo, also big.
Call me now. I still remember that. That phrase has been embedded in my head.
I mean, Miss Cleo was like a multi-millionaire for that because of the people, basically because of like people in the Midwest that really didn't have a lot of money to begin with and were calling anyway.
Yep. Eric B, you know the ones he was talking about. He's saying I used to call those and prank those poor people. He says maybe they weren't free then.
I don't think they were free. There's not much. There wasn't that much in the telephone industry back in the day that was free.
No, not for like socializing. Like it was all to like actually just get information. So it was basically just like 411 and then 911. That was it. Like, oh my God, that was, yeah. Oh my God, this has been a fun little tangent on discussions.
Yeah,
we've gone on some good
longest. Might be the longest time we've actually ever gone without talking about SOS at all.
Yeah, we're just having fun.
Yeah, which I'm okay with because it's basically, I mean, I don't know. There's really nothing in the game right now besides some states have the new heroes. You know, they introduced a new pack for the daily deal for new heroes where is it 25? No, it's a $20 pack on the daily deal, so you can buy more frags.
Let me check. Hello, Scareth. How are you? You have missed our police chat. You have missed the police chat.
And for any officers on the call, thank you for your service.
Yes. Yeah. None of what we did was intentional. It just happened to. We were kids. We were kids.
I mean, in those days in the neighborhood I grew up in, I mean, those cops weren't doing anything anyway.
No, my neighborhood was pretty chill too.
Yeah, I mean,
mine didn't come with the sirens. I'll say that. Like they didn't come with the lights or anything when they came to investigate.
Such a pain in the ass.
It also seems like a really bad idea to come with the lights if you suspect that somebody in the house is taken hostage. Because I feel like that's just asking the person to panic.
Just puts the rate of like, oh my God, they know what's going on inside right now. Let's just kill everyone.
Yeah.
This way we can run out the back.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Completely agree.
Mm-hmm. Scary is saying it's 25 frags and 3 frag crates. 3 frag crates. And then, and it says same for, and Eric B is saying it was the same for Grim. And they changed Resonate Heroes and left out the new Tier 11 research. Yeah, I'm going to read the updates, so we'll talk about the updates a little bit. I know, Buzzsaw, Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo was she was a trendsetter for fortune telling over the TV. It was, oh my God. Late night Miss Cleo.
Yeah. That was back in the day where, you called or invited the fraud to come into your life. Now the fraud calls you 16 times a day.
Yes. It's true.
They've legitimately just tracked you down to the point where they now have all your phone
They flipped the script on you. That's exactly what it is. They flipped the script. Okay, so there have been some new things to the game. There was an update in particular. So let's just talk a little bit about the update, because there are some things that they added which I think are good. The only problem is it's very difficult for us to truly evaluate it. So the first thing is they added manual selection of spending speed ups and resources. So they said this was a suggestion from the community and it will be implemented in next week's 1.13.40, which it should be out. I believe it came out on yesterday.
Yep.
On that update, when consuming speed up items or resources, there will be a sliding bar for players to choose how many hours of speed ups or items they would like to use. So let's bring down the screen and see if it's there. I believe I updated the game here, and we will check to see. Oh, if you want, we will talk about Brian Laundrie and Gabby Patino. We can have that discussion. But yeah, so we'll try the speed ups here, and no, did I not update? Okay, mine is not updated. So let's see. Let me see if I can update here in the meantime, because apparently it's not updated. I thought I updated before the stream, but maybe not. Eric B is saying is bogus, is not a slider at all. Okay, so we will evaluate. That's why I'm trying to get it on the screen here, but I thought I had updated. Let me see. Is there an update pending?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there
Look
is.
at that.
There is an update pending. So I'll
it's a
update it
slider.
and then we'll look at it on stream. But the next one, improvement of the Reservoir raid matching algorithm. Woo! We have been asking for this for a while. With next week's 1.13.40 update, we will also improve the Reservoir raid matching algorithm. Originally, the algorithm calculated the matching points for each participant based mainly on their battle power. But battle power cannot fully capture a player's capability on the battlefield. We hope to find a way to calculate the player's true power in Reservoir Raid and to help alliances match with closer opponents. So, there's a few ways they can do this. Delete, what do you think they should do? I don't know what they're doing. They haven't made it clear. But if you have an idea, what would you do?
It should be based off of gear, frankly. I mean, it should be, I don't know, like the badges do make a pretty big difference, but it should be based off of the gear of the combatants. Because it's that simple. You know, it should be based off of not troop power, but you know, the gear. You know, I guess it's rare that you find someone that's like, oh, I've got T11s, but you know, or you know, but my gear's not great, or you know, someone that's got maxed out gear and doesn't have T11s. You know, those combinations really don't occur. So I think it should really be based off of gear. Take the true power away, and your BP numbers should be used to kind of base off of the combatants that you have and go from there. I don't think it should be anything more complex than that. You know?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking a little more complex, but in kind of a different way that could be kind of fun. Did you ever play chess like growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you played, you know, like the chess rating system, right? Like you had your chess rating. So that's kind of what I was thinking, which is basically like you can start off with a particular ranking based on like your BP, your HQ level, whatever it is. But then as you play, how effective you are in Reservoir Raid affects your rating. So how much water you collect, how many times you beat somebody out of a building, how many times you led a rally to win, how many times you joined a rally to win, like how many losses, like all those things. It's a constantly running kind of like rating system. And then you can also then see who is doing like most effective in Reservoir. It would be a fun little thing to see, right? Like who is currently number one. Don't put any like actual points to it. But it helps you see, like, okay, this person is doing really well in Reservoir. Like, they're leading rallies. There's no reason for you not to lead a rally because you don't want to get points, because then you maybe only get, like, benefit for that one particular matchup where your ranking is a little bit lower, but then it catches up. So my thought would just do that way. Then you create a true ranking for everybody, or, like, the temporary ranking for anyone that hasn't got their, like, ongoing rank. And then you can match up based on the totals, and the total should be based on the highest total number for the number of active players, right? So I think it's 30 that you can have active, and then 19 as backup. Is that right? I'm trying to remember the numbers.
I don't remember how many reserves. Mostly because Laws hasn't had, it's rare that we re-register 30 people anymore.
Yeah, so if you could register 30 people plus like 15 reserves or whatever it is, right? It would only calculate the highest 30. So if you had someone with a really high score in the reserves, like you can't hide them in the reserves and then have them come in, right? So matchups for each alliance is based on what their top 30 is, based on their active and their reserves. And that's how you do the matchmaking. I wouldn't count all of them, because what it seems like right now is that if you do the 30 plus the 15, they're adding all of them together. And now you have like this 45 that's determining the score, but only 30 can play. So what's the point in getting like all 45? Like, it doesn't help, right? So it seems like you'd be better off just doing the 30 and then like the top 30 between both, and then using that. That would be my system anyways. But to your point, yours keeps it simple. Mine definitely complicates it more.
With the reserves, I would definitely, I would make it where, the reserves were where it didn't matter. It would just be your top 30. Like if you try to like trick the system, it would, if you registered a reserve, it would look at it as like a regular participant.
Yep.
And your strongest 30 would just be your strongest, would be where your matchmaking is. So this way you can't get around that. Because that's been something that was like, I think that's why matchmaking's so wonky now, is because people were tricking the system and putting players in at reserves that were like their beasts, and we're just kind of taking advantage of it. And next thing you know, it's just like, oh, all right, now we're going to punish you for reserves. We're going to count all of them as playing. So the people that were just like, oh, we'll just go ahead and put, 45 people in for this res raid, and we're just getting the crap kicked out of them nonstop, and started to hate res raid. That's why, but yeah, I think because it really just has come down to, like how much power you have, and how, and how much fun it's going to be, because it's, if you only have one person that's really, really strong, you can kind of get away with a good amount, but you only still have one top march. Everyone else is going to be below that top march. So there's only one building that you can guarantee to secure. If you have someone of equal strength going against you, it becomes more of a strategy game. So the matchmaking process has to be something that's like, that makes sense. Yeah. That puts it close, or else it's not fun.
Yep.
It takes the strategy completely out of it. If you just, well, I'm going to take this building. Oh, wow, I won. I'll take this one for my secondary march. Oh, I won that too. My third march won. All right, let me just send a blue hero march. Wow, that one won too. That's not really that much fun.
Yep.
So
you're right. And Eric B is saying, look, it's just a button, no slider. So they do actually have the slider. So if you click on change amount, then it does this. And I do like the fact that they use the highest ones first, and then they kind of work down a little bit. So they'll use like the 1 hour, then they'll use the 5 minute, then the 1 minute, and they're trying to calculate like your time as you do it. So there is a slider. It is, I guess I'm not entirely, like, it becomes difficult, I think. Let's say I want to use 5 hours. Like, I can't get to it. It jumps.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get in between 5 minutes, or 5 hours, 7 minutes, and 4 hours, 59. Like, it's like going 7 to 8 minutes. It's nice, but it's not, like, I don't know why they didn't give you the option just to type it.
I would like, what it is. Yeah, I mean, that would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, then they could have done this exact same thing, except instead of using the slider to figure it out, just say, I want to do 5 hour speed up, and there you go.
Yeah, a slider that's not really that granular. Also, but like I think it would come in handy, like if you're trying to speed heal, and you just want to do like, all right, I'll go ahead and use, 11 hours of healing, right now, but I'll leave the last hour and 15 minutes or whatever, like how many that you can go ahead and batch heal from getting help, for by how many people are online to kind of finish the last of it, so this way you don't have to use all of your speed ups to get that done. You can save an hour and a half or something along those lines. I think that's where it kind of comes into more use than anything else as far as practical use. Because I don't think anyone's like, oh no, I used 4 more hours than I wanted to.
Well, Eric B brings up a good point. He's like, why didn't they do it like they did with the troops? And that's a good question, because they already have that like graphical display set up for troops already, right? Each of the different columns is just a slider for your 1 minute, your 5 minute, your 1 hour, and then you could go to the generic 1 minute, to generic 5 minutes, to generic 1 hour, 3 hour, 8 hours, like all of that. You could just put it in a thing and everyone could just slide it. Like, it seems like it would have been so much better that way. I agree with you, Eric B. This one isn't bad because it simplifies it, but so it's at least something. But yeah, I think being able to do a slider for each individual one would have been better. And they already had it in place with the troops thing. So hopefully it would have just been kind of a modification on existing code rather than developing something completely new like this one seems to be. Simple. It's a simple one, though, just to calculate out what it is, like the different amounts that you're doing. But yeah,
I don't see how that many people were like complaining about this, where they wanted to be like, oh, this is the thing that we want to do. We've been asking about percentages, getting percentages for marches forever. Like that would be so much easier.
Yeah. If only.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scareth is saying for free-to-play, 4 1-hour speed-ups are a lot. It is. It can be, definitely.
I mean, you don't want to like mistakenly like push the wrong button, but you also know that like, like, I don't know, where you're in a situation like if you're a free-to-play player, you're just not pushing that button almost ever to like speed do anything.
No.
You're like working your way around the game a lot more easily, because you're just trying to make sure that you don't overspend on anything.
Yep. No, it's true. But yeah, losing 4 1-hour speed-ups for a free-to-play would be pretty bad. But yeah, so I think it is nice, though, that they added that. The algorithm, we'll have to see how they did it. I'm glad they're at least updating it to something, right? It shows that they're not staying pat with what they had, because what they had was creating so many mismatches. So I'm glad that they're kind of doing a little bit more with it now. And then the last thing was the mail system improvement. They said our current mail system is difficult to operate for players trying to find old messages. You need to keep scrolling down into the mailbox. The mailbox is refreshed every time when you reach the bottom of the current page. Upon reaching the bottom, players are then sent back to the top, which means that players are forced to spend a lot more time repeating the same operation until they find the message they're looking for. The dev team is brainstorming how to improve this. We will share the update info as soon as we have formulated a detailed plan. So they're looking to update it, but they don't have a plan. I'll give you a fairly simple one. Add a little toggle. One that shows only new messages, and another one that shows you messages with packages attached. That's it. So one of them, you could always just show the ones that have packages attached, meaning that they have something you can claim. You can do the mass claim, and then once that's done, the packages are removed, and you'll see only the ones that you have to like click on, or maybe go to Facebook or do whatever, right? You have to click on that go to. That's all that's going to remain. You basically allow for filters. But those are the only 2 filters you need. Unread messages and messages with attachments. That's it. Those are like the same 2 I use at work. Like even my work emails are kind of based on the same things. It's like I need to look sometimes for ones that have attachments. And then the other times it's the ones that I haven't read yet. So I can work on them. Like that's it. Keep it simple.
I would say like it does get annoying that, like if you're looking for a battle report for someone, I remember that's what I used to dig through, and it used to be such a pain in the ass. Be like, all right, I'm just not dealing with this, because there's absolutely no way to sort.
Battle
Um,
reports expire too, I think. Unless you favorite them. There's
um,
some that I
unless
can't
you
get
favorite
to and
them.
I favorite them and then they save it, but like I don't think I can scroll into my battle for like my like year ago battles.
No, even though I've never deleted like an old
Mhm.
email, they tend to kind of just disappear on their own.
Yep. Yeah. So
It would
scared
be
to
nice for
saying I
that if.
delete all my mail. Never save anything.
Oh wow,
I save everything.
it would be nice if you could sort by alliance.
Sort by
You
alliance?
know. hmm
What do you mean?
Like if you're battling in a tower or something like that, or if you're battling in something else and you wanted to go back and just see like, wow, what did they just change? Oh,
Oh, I see. I
and
see.
your like battle reports were sorted by alliance, so this way you can group them together that way.
Yeah,
As opposed to just individuals.
I can tell you right now, just from a coding perspective, that's going to be a
Be
lot
close
more
to
difficult.
impossible. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
close to
basically, what they would
impossible.
have to do is they would have to index every single mail in order to be able to run through the code to see any instance of like a particular alliance reference. And then they would have to go back and then put it as a search result. From a coding standpoint, that would be, I mean, it's doable for sure, but it would be a nightmare, I think, for a game like this. It would be, there are so many different alliances and everything because you hit inactive alliances all the time. If you want to search when the last time you hit an inactive, they have to keep those too. Like it's not they can just restrict it to active alliances for these searches.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Eric B says my warlog and everything else would go back to the beginning if they didn't delete themselves. Yeah, yeah, but I think they do delete themselves. That's the thing. I think I
Yeah.
remember going back one time and not seeing anything. I can't remember the time frame, like 3 months
I
or
think they
something like
announced
that.
it.
Yeah,
I think they announced it where they decreased the amount of time that it would hold emails, and they let you know that it was like, we're not going to let you keep them forever. You
yeah.
know,
Unless you favorite.
because
So if
that's
you
just,
favorite, you can like kind of keep them. But
yeah, because it's just, they're just storage. That's just a storage thing more than anything else.
plus us saying why not just be able to search for a text stream? It's because they would be going through too much. We have too much mail in this game for them to be able to go through. So the nice thing about like either the attachments or the new is that you are looking at a single value in a single data field, right? So when you mark something as unread, it's its own little marker that you can track. So you can literally just go through this message doesn't have it. This message doesn't have it. The other one is the attachment, and literally if it has an assignment equals true, you bring it up. If it's false, you don't put it up. Like fairly like it's fairly straightforward from a boolean perspective to be able to identify those. Text searches become a whole lot more intricate because you have to parse through every single text inside of the mails, right? So now you're not just doing it from a field, you're actually going into the text of it in order to identify it. It's not a simple true or false or being able to like identify that there is something or not something, which is what the other two are, right? The new is either basically it is new or it's not a new email, right? Unread or not unread. And the other one with the attachment is either the attachment number is 0 or it's greater than 0. Greater than 0 means there's an attachment, you put it in the list. Like you can get to kind of a binary value with those two. The text you cannot. So the script you would have to actually generate in order to parse through the content of a mail would be very difficult in this game, especially with the number of mails that you get. It's too much. Every like group message can come in there, right? You get like those group messages that can potentially come in the mail as well if somebody like updates something and like you get the new trap times or you update one of the little like the the markers, right? When there's a marker, you don't have this quite as much in your state delete because you guys don't have as many towers. But it was something that I know Nikki hated me for, because when I was doing the Wall of Finn stuff, literally their inboxes would get flooded with about like 20 mails basically saying Finn has built a tower, Finn has deleted a tower, Finn has built a tower, Finn has destroyed a tower.
So annoying.
Yeah. So when you get those, like, that goes into your alliance, if I remember correctly. So if you're now trying to search for the alliance, it has to go through every single one of those mails. So it's possible to do. I think it's just too much effort for them to be able to create a text search for.
Yeah, I don't think they would want to.
No, they're just trying to help us get rid of messages and to claim items, right? So that's why I think they just need to identify new emails and they need to identify the ones with attachments. That's it. That helps us clear out our inboxes fairly easily, I think. So, no, the Wall of Finn must stand, Grim. Although I don't have access to a Wall of Finn anymore. I'm not an R4, so yeah, I can't do the Wall of Finn anymore. They've effectively stopped me from the Wall of Finn. But when I have access, I definitely do the Wall of Finn. And there was a reason behind it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a reason behind it, and it's really good early game. Later game it's just to get some alliance tokens, but early game it is really useful if you're ever in a tower race. It makes it fun. But yeah, so those were the only updates that they had. That was their developer update. They're still taking some feedback for the game and some other stuff. There were some issues with the state merger. Just FYI, they had posted this. The states that were, some of the states and state mergers and everything, they caused some issues. So there were alliances in states 7, 10, 13, 14, 15, but then also 24, 27, 38, 42, 47, and 55. There were some alliances that had some issues, and Reservoir League and everything got messed up. So they're working on a rematch to help some of those alliances kind of get through it. But they did say that there were some issues. So there's that. And then Halloween events. So Halloween events start on October 21st for states 163 to 174, 547 to 558. So for those states, it starts October 21st. Sounds like they're doing a small-scale test to make sure that everything works, which I'm okay with. And then October 27th is all states, 1 through 858, will have Halloween events. So we are getting our Halloween event soon. It'll be on the 27th. So it's a week from yesterday is when we can expect that. So I'm excited.
It's weird that they split it. But I mean, I guess if they're testing it,
that's what I'm thinking they're doing now, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. If what they're doing is they're testing content in like a small subset before rolling it out to everyone. Like, I don't think that's a bad practice. I do wonder why those states.
Right.
They're just like...
That's probably just like old game and new game.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So like 163, 174, which I believe is still your version of the game, not mine.
Yep.
547 and 558 will be my version of the game. I'm assuming the even newer ones are not too far away from those with some minor differences, so it doesn't break the Halloween event. So they're just testing it out. So yeah, hopefully there's some fun Halloween events on their way. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So, I mean, at least we got some news. We got a little bit of an idea. There were some things that didn't work with state merger, Reservoir League, and everything got a little messed up, but they're working to fix that. And then, yeah, I'm really interested about the algorithm. I'm wondering what they're going to do in order to help with Reservoir raid matching.
I wonder if they'll tell you what they did, too. Like, what they're basing the new thing off.
Most probably will not.
Yeah, because it's kind of proprietary.
Well, it's not even the proprietary aspect of it. It's once people know what the formula is, they will find ways to manipulate it.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like, that happens in every game, and I understand it. Like, I want to know what the algorithm is, but I know there's others that will use it in order to, like, be like, oh, well, that means if I do XYZ, that I'm going to be underrated, so we'll be able to kill people a little bit better. Like, there is that competitive edge that you can potentially get by analyzing what the algorithm is and then manipulating it to your benefit. So I can see them not releasing it for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it'd be nice to like not have to go ahead and try and trick the system to get a fair, a fair battle.
Yeah.
That's kind of worth it because it's still, it's one of the it's if not the most popular portion of the game.
No, it is. So I'm glad that they are focusing on that a little bit more to get that working. I wish they would give alliances the opportunity for 2 instead of 1, since alliances are 100, and even with reserves, you're only at 45. Like, that doesn't seem
you're cutting people out. Yeah, you're just cutting people out. A lot of the alliance doesn't get a chance to experience it.
Yep.
It's like in 125, it's down. It's come to like where farm alliances are in the top 20, so they can run res raid. So, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, I will suggest something. This is going to be a little bit more difficult, but I think it's actually going to be. It would be kind of fun because there would be nothing but just fun attached to it. Make it so that when you want to do Reservoir Raid, you queue up with a group of people and it just matches you with another alliance that's looking. Forget about even matchup or all of that, right? Sometimes you just want to do something in the game, even if you're going to lose, that's just fun. Reservoir Raid is fun. Right now, it is on a very strict schedule because of like League and stuff, and I understand that. I'm okay with that. But the game mode is so fun that honestly, they should just be like, okay, here is a way that you can just queue up. When you queue up, we're just going to match you with someone. It may be overmatched. It may be undermatched. We're going to try to get you close, but we're just going to match you for the first available person that actually matches your alliance's stuff. And then you get matched up and you go do Reservoir Raid for like an hour and just have fun with it.
Why not? I mean, because it's not like you do it for rewards. You don't even get rewards for Res Raid.
No, right? You got those little like silver teardrop token thingies.
Oh yeah. Which allow you to kind of buy stuff in the Res Raid store, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing for Res Raid. It was just, you just play it,
I know, but that's exactly what it should be. Just play it for fun. I mean, if you want to give people something for participating, like that's not a bad idea to incentivize alliances to just go in periodically and do it and just like, oh, well, let's see. How many people are on? Oh, there's 25 people on. Let's see if we can do a 25-person Reservoir Raid. And let's just go in. That's it.
Yeah. That would be fantastic.
I think that would be a really nice game mode. They went kind of the opposite direction with League, right? So they start off with Reservoir Raid, and you're able to play it on a structured schedule. They went even to a little more extreme structure schedule with League, because now you have the rounds with the structure. So now go the other direction, and you get like the full gamut. You get the casual Reservoir Raid, right? You get the more normal Reservoir Raid, and then you get League for the really high Reservoir Raid people. You cover the whole gamut, and don't necessarily exclude even the alliances that are below 20, because then they could do the casual one and just have fun doing Reservoir Raid. Because I remember when RSG was not in the top 20, it was just like, I really want to do Reservoir Raid, so I can see it. It seems like it's a really fun game mode. Now I miss it. I can't do it just because of schedule. Like, real life is taking over. It's hard for me to find time on a Saturday or Sunday to be able to do it. More importantly, I should say, is that I can't find time to commit before the actual weekend. It's really hard for me to know whether I'm going to be available at a particular time on the weekend to do Reservoir Raid, just because there's other stuff going on. Maybe that'll clear up in a few months once the wedding is done and once the house is done for me, because I have like big things going on. Once that's done, though, maybe it frees up a little bit. But again, how am I supposed to commit by Thursday that I know for sure I'm going to be available at like 15 UTC on a Saturday? Like it becomes very difficult. So a casual way where it's just like, oh, well, let you two delete. You're going through the same thing. It's just like your kids have stuff, you have stuff to do. It's just like you want to play whenever you have free time, but you can't plan your free time all that easily.
Yeah, you have no idea when that's going to be, and how long it's going to be, and to kind of just go ahead and carve out. I mean, it's an hour.
Yeah.
It's an hour of like legit play.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy to just kind of slack off on.
No, so that would be like awesome for both of us, where it's just like, oh, well, now Delete's on, and he wants to do res raid. Let's tag everyone in Discord, see who wants to join, and we'll put together a team and queue up.
And rock, yeah.
Because it's casual, people can leave when they want to and everything.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be a great game mode. Just use what you have, just make it more casual, avoid the timers, and just let people play for an hour when they have the hour. And then if they need to leave, they need to leave. Like, it's just one of those things where it's casual play. Like, people will understand. Like, if people in your lines are like, yeah, I can join, but I only have 30 minutes. Like, yeah, just join. Well, then leave in like 30 minutes. We'll figure it out. Like
right.
In Res Raid, you do that, and it's like, where the hell is he? Why are you not doing anything? You got ported back. It's like yelling.
I mean, and that's like it's like the toughest part about this game is it doesn't really do anything to increase the like one-on-one gameplay at all.
Yeah.
Or like alliance on alliance gameplay at all. It's just, no, this is what it is. You get the one day every couple weeks to kind of go ahead and do this.
Yeah, Ronnie K saying the same thing. That far out does make it hard. We went through that today to schedule our res raid for Sunday. Yeah. It's just too hard. Like, it doesn't... That's one thing about this game. This is honestly the thing that we've come back to a lot, right? I think there's two things in particular we've come back to. One is the state merger, and they're working on that, right? The other thing is that the times are so strict with some of these things. Capital is always at like a... like, if it's at an odd time for you, it's always at an odd time for you.
Right.
Like, if you have to wake up in the middle of the night, you always have to wake up in the middle of the night. There's not much else you can do about it. There's no rotating schedule or anything like that. Like, Capital, I understand you can't just, like, open it up for any time. But if you do it on a structured schedule that rotates, well, now you can allow people to, like, adapt. They know that it's not just the same time and that the same group of people are going to get disinterested. No, they'll get disinterested every, like, 3 months when their time is inconvenient, but then the other 3 months, they're in it.
It's crazy that's one of the only game modes that doesn't allow you to kind of choose times.
It is.
And it's the most important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. Whether it's capital or state warfare, like, it's a big deal to try and get those. And then same thing now with, like, what we're talking about with Res Raid. Like, you can still, like, pick your times a little bit there, right? But you have to determine your team, like, 2 to 3 days in advance. And it just becomes so difficult to be able to do that.
Yeah. And then people, because we get it all the time. People sign up, and then they're just like, they're MIA.
Yeah.
And it's nothing you can really say to them. They're like, oh, something came up. And you're like, well, it's, we didn't ask you to play. You asked to play. And they're like, well, something came up. And it's like, all right, what are you going to do?
Yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully they'll work on that next. I would say those kind of things would be next. If they made a more open version of Reservoir Raid, like, I would be in this game a lot more. My biggest problem right now is that every time I go in the game, it's just like sending my marches to go do intel and then getting resources. Like, and then I'm there for like 2 minutes and then I'm not really like playing the game anymore. Like, as a free-to-play, you just fall behind in your buildings. You try to keep up, but you're not like on the cutting edge. I like the improvements they made to Trap, but Trap is still just like Trap. It's there. Horde, again, they made some good changes to it, but none of these are things that keep me in the game. These are not things that increase my screen time in the game. Reservoir Raid is literally an hour that you will get people on their free time to dedicate to your game.
Right.
There's like no
Without question.
downside. This is huge for you. If you can do this,
Yeah.
like that is big.
And if they make the matchmaking that much sharper, then it's just like, oh, it becomes the most important thing in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Ronnie K is saying that happened. Scheduled 30 people and only 3 showed up. Yeah.
Ouch. I mean, it does happen.
It happens. Scareth, that is what's frustrating for Reservoir League. It's an endurance competition. We had 20 show up out of 45 and lost the knockout. Yeah. And they give like no flexibility, right? So if somebody changes their schedule and they're like, yeah, now I'm free with Reservoir Raid. It's like, nope, you didn't tell me on Thursday. You're out of luck. Like, okay, well, all right. Like that's it. So it's just a little too stringent, I think, on those. But again, on the other side, I understand they need to know who the people are in order to try and do the matchmaking. Right? They need to have some idea of who the potential 45 are, because if they matchmake based on who you have on the 45 and then you can switch out, then again, you don't put delete in your 45, but then we switch in delete the day before. And you're already set up with the match. So I understand what they're doing from the purposes of Reservoir Raid and Reservoir League, right? Just because the matchups are so much serious, there's more things on the line for it. I understand it. It's not. It doesn't fit well with the work schedule. It doesn't fit well with life. So there's always that downside. But that's why I'm suggesting a casual mode where it's just like, oh, I'm on. Who wants to do Reservoir League? And then the same way you do Plague Zones, basically. Just like, oh, anyone want to do a Plague Zone? And then you just get the people and you run off and do your Plague Zone. Same thing. Who wants to do Reservoir League for the next few minutes? Like, okay, I have some time to kill. And then you just get people to do Reservoir League. Yeah, people
get together, have fun in the game, and call it a day.
Yeah, and if they're spending, that's the other thing, right? Reservoir, like we'll call this casual Reservoir, right? Casual Reservoir would have the same things that you would need for Reservoir Raid. So you have to make sure your hospital is empty. So potentially you have people buying healing and everything in order to get your troops up, or they're spending speed ups. Yeah, so if you're spending resources, that just means it's less resources they have to something else. You increase the chance they're going to buy it later. So if you actually implement the same kind of like healing stuff, and then you also have people like trying to get the like their troops up and everything so they can run into Reservoir to be strong, right? Because again, if you're not able to participate in Reservoir Raid, you wonder, what am I doing with my troops? Like you're building up these troops, you're powering them up. Where are you going to use them? They're just sitting in your base, protecting it. So now you're giving them like, oh, well, I can get more troops and everything. I'll make them stronger because I can play in Reservoir, like in casual Reservoir, and just have fun with that. And my troops are stronger. Like you get people more involved, the more they can actually play things in the game. And so if you get them the ability to play things in the game, win or lose, right? It'll give them the ability to play. It's also why I'm not a big fan of the 20 alliance cutoff. But again, that's for Raid and League. Casual Reservoir could be open to everybody in the Alliance or in the state. So now nobody's restricted. And especially in the newer states, that gets people more involved. So, I mean, I don't see a downside to this, personally. Personally, I do not see a downside to them just creating a casual Reservoir Raid, just making sure it's known that the matchmaking is just based on the number on whichever alliances sign up at the same time that you do. So the matchmaking may be thrown off, but it's designed as a fun game mode for you to have fun whenever you have the free time. So if we go in and get Raffle Stomped, I'm just going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe I just got Raffle Stomped. Let's see if we can do it again and then we can find somebody else that we can Raffle Stomp instead. That's going to be what it is. Like, that's Seriously. What it's going to be. You're just going to like, you're hoping for either an even matchup or you're going to Raffle Stomp.
And play Res Raid on command. That would be epic.
Yes.
That would be epic.
That game mode and the Kamute Town are like my two favorites. They are my two favorite game modes in this. And Kamute Town is only the ones I don't like the Explorer ones. I like it when you just go in and then they like just tally up the numbers and you're like, okay, let me play around with my heroes, let me play around with some of my like stats, see what I can do. You switch it around. You see if the numbers change. Like that's the fun for me in the Kamute. So between those two, I could do those like all day if they were available. But then I get the explore missions on the Kamute, and then I just like I can't do 5 minutes in one thing. Like so I can't spend all of my O2 tanks when I have to do like 5 minutes per. And then you go off and then you go attack some other square that doesn't matter towards the objective. You're like, yeah, I can just get my stuff and leave. So little things like that I think will improve the game.
Agreed.
Let me see if there was anything else. I think those are it for their posts, and then we went on a tangent. Like we went on a complete tangent. But that's the way it goes.
We do that.
That's the way it goes. We have fun.
We just leave our viewers just mystified, in awe of how far-ranging our stories go.
It's true. We've talked about everything. We've talked about the Popo. We talked about
childhood memories.
And then we actually went into
24-hour stream.
24-hour
trying not to poop for 24 hours or 28 hours, depending.
Imodium works.
Really? I've never had to take that.
So
I've never been in a situation.
Okay, so this is going to go into more detail. So, whenever we go to India, we do a direct flight. So it goes from Palm Beach to Newark, but then there's a direct flight from Newark to Bombay. It's a long flight. It's like 20 some odd hours. And I do not want to use the airplane restroom. So I prophylactically use Imodium AD. Now, you're supposed to use 2, like of the ones that I like, the tablets that I get. You're supposed to use 2 in order to like constipate yourself if you actually have like the diarrhea episodes, right? However, I just take 1, and I do not have to go until I land. And then once I land, it's like back to normal. Like I don't even need anything else. It's just back to normal. But before that, it's like a whole like plane flight where I don't have to worry. It's like, okay. So the last time I went, and this was before COVID, and actually the year of COVID was actually the year I was supposed to go the next time. We had gone like every couple years. But like a couple years before that, I'd gone, and literally I stayed up the entire flight and watched Game of Thrones. Like I just caught up on everything Game of Thrones. Like I saved all the episodes and everything, and then I just watched them all. Here's the thing I realized, like halfway through the first one, is Game of Thrones is awesome. Except for the last season. Game of Thrones is awesome. Be mindful of your surroundings. There are things that happen in Game of Thrones that is not appropriate for everyone, right? And at first, I just wasn't thinking about it. And then, like, it got to one of the scenes, and I'm like, wait, who else is around here? And then I looked, right? At least most of the other people were sleeping. But the other thing is, I'm on a whole plane of mainly very much older, from India type of Indian people. This is not going to be their cup of tea. So I ended up like sitting the rest of the time, like holding my iPad with my hands on the side like this, so that it works as, like the same thing with like the horses where where you can't see it. It's like blocking the view on the iPad. So like I can see it and I'm just holding it. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Nobody else can see it. We're good.
I was on the commuter rail train into the city, and there's a scene where a guy's like, hey man, take a look at this. Does this look right? And it's just a guy's junk. And I ran out of service right at that moment. So I'm like, I'm dangling my phone. Like, I'm like, it's not working yet. And I'm like, not realizing that I'm basically flashing a guy's junk all around the people that are pretty close to me. Thinking that it's gonna start, and it's like, all right, well, that's kind of what happened here. Yeah, that kind of wasn't the best thing to do at 7:27 in the morning on the train. just going ahead and trying to like bang out my my Game of Thrones from the night before.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it
a
was
lot.
blinders on an iPad, Scareth. That's exactly what it was. It was my hands as the blinders, but yes, I basically use my hands as blinders on my iPad. Yeah, my iPad is old, by the way. It is old. It is an iPad 2, not an Air 2 or anything.
Oh,
It is legitimately
it's a clunker.
second generation. Yeah. It is old. I can't play games or anything on there anymore. It is literally for me to have like a little tablet for me to be able to like search up like cooking recipes and stuff before I go to bed, and then I fall asleep. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's a graduate. You've basically graduated it to like, to the point where it's just like, okay, this could be like a photo screen. Like a.
That's basically what it is. Yep. That is basically what it is. It is bad. It is old. I have considered buying another iPad, but I'm like, I really don't need it. Like, literally all I do, like, use it for is at night, I'm like, okay, what do I want to make for dinner tomorrow? And then I just come up with some random idea. I'm like, okay, how do I cook lamb if I sear it first and then put it in the oven? Let me find the tray. Let me just see what some recipes have. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it this way. And then that's it. I just research ways to cook meat, and then that's it. Like, that's what it's been used for.
Yeah, it's I'm laying in bed and watching, Netflix, while my wife's asleep. Something like that or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like it screws out of. I never work off of it. Actually, I use my iPad most often to actually stream. Yeah. I am brought to you by Brahma. Yes. iPad. My green screen.
This is true. All right, guys. So I think that covers like the news. We had a bunch of discussion about random things. This was our Halloween stream. So as part of this, the reason we say it's early Halloween, again, guys, no stream next week. I unfortunately have some wedding stuff that I need to take care of, so I am going to be down in Palm Beach again to handle that. So I will not be able to stream, so no bunker next week. We will be back the following week, but not next week. However, on Saturday, October 30, it is our charity stream. We are once again raising money for the American Cancer Society. So far in total for the American Cancer Society, I think we've raised over $40,000. For charities in total, it's been close to $50,000. The first year we raised money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and then the last 3 we raised money for the American Cancer Society, and we're partnering up with them once again. Hoping to have some big news actually during that stream with regards to the American Cancer Society. So I really hope you guys can join us. I will be streaming 24 hours. My goal is to go 24 hours. So obviously, the more people in chat, the more interactive I can be. I am a crazy person if you have not figured that out. So the more people there are to talk to, the more I will continue to blabber about who knows what. And you'll get some ridiculous stories and just thoughts by Finn. Thoughts by Finn are scary, just in general. If the Imodium stuff wasn't enough. There's a lot of crazy thoughts in my head.
Because that's what I was going to tap into. I was like, yeah, just you ever wonder if Imodium works?
Mm-hmm. It works. Oh, it works. Yeah. So October 30, starting at 8 a.m. We'll be playing a bunch of different games. If you're not familiar with the Tiltify platform, it is a platform for streamers to be able to raise money for charities. It is the one that we've used in the previous years. We'll be using it once again. There are 3 different things on the Tiltify pages. There are what are called rewards, and rewards are things that you can donate money to the ACS for, and there is something you will get in return. It may be, there will be wristbands, although there's a poll associated with that. We'll talk about that. But there's a wristband. This is the one from last year. It was a blue one, if you guys can see that. The year before it was a yellow, and the year before that was a red. I actually have all of them. So potentially one of the rewards, if you wanted to buy the older versions, then you can get that plus the newer one. So you can catch up on them. I have all the wristbands, so there's a few different options for you guys. Um, but wristbands is one. There's also going to be tickets. So these are like basically virtual tickets that you guys can get that we will be doing giveaways when we hit certain milestones. So usually it's around the 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, 10,000. Our target is 15,000 this year. So for those other different milestones, we do giveaways, and you can either can buy tickets for the giveaways. So that's one way to do your rewards. And there might be a few other things, but those are primarily like what the rewards are. You basically get something in return. There's also what are called polls. You can donate money to one of the responses on the poll. So what we're doing is right now, American Cancer Society is doing their college streaming fundraising. Theirs is definitely a little bit more about an individual college versus a different college. Like one streamer is representing one streamer is doing another. Doesn't quite fit the style of RSG, but we are going to contribute to it in our own way. So this year, the colors of the wristbands, you guys can vote on it in a poll, and each of the colors is going to be a school that represents each of the members of RSG. So mine is going to be University of Florida. Unfortunately, they don't have an orange and blue, so it's just going to be a plain orange one. It's going to be what's representing for University of Florida. Grande Patron is going to be for Texas A&M, so there's a red and white one. Rangers doing University of Texas, so it's going to be an orange and white one. I'll get Sannies, and I'll get Loki's as well. And so there's going to be the 5 options, and you guys can donate to pick which color scheme you would want for the wristbands for this year. And that's effectively going to be the main poll. There might be other polls in between, but the last thing is a challenge, and the challenge is that it's going to be basically a bar that gets filled up with money that you guys donate to accomplish something. So the main one for this year is going to be Finn getting into a pink inflatable pool on stream next year. So when I get the new house, the pool is going to be set up in the backyard, and I will stream from there. Karma is on board with that, just FYI. She is okay with me doing that. And there's going to be another challenge for Karma to actually get on stream and play a game with me for a stream as well. So that's also going to be another challenge. But when you donate, when you donate, let's say $5, you can apply your $5 to all 3 at the same time. So when you go into Tiltify, you will pick a reward, you will pick a poll, and you will pick a challenge that your $5 goes towards. You get all 3. You don't have to pick one. All 3 of them. You pick one from each of those different pools. And so you can get yourself a reward, and then you can also contribute to the polls and challenges. So it is going to be a lot of fun, and you guys are going to be able to donate, get some rewards potentially, put your names into some raffles. The ACS has typically given away a good bit of stuff to our viewers for helping out. There's usually like a hat or a backpack or a water bottle or something. So there's usually some fun stuff that the ACS provides, so you guys can win that, or some RSG stuff. We've given away Funko Pops before, just a whole bunch of different things. So make sure you guys come check that out. And obviously, the more time you spend with me, the more brain damage you're going to get, and the more time you're going to want to spend with me afterwards, because then you're going to be brain damaged, because that's my type of people. So October 30, please make sure to join. Again, we're raising money for the American Cancer Society. It is our kickoff event. We'll hopefully have one in October and one in December as well, and hoping for some big announcements about our kind of end game for this fundraiser. In the past few years, we have done the Run Disney Rival Run Weekend, which is a Star Wars themed run. They have a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon. And we used to go and run one of the races. Last year, it was canceled or 2 years ago, it was canceled because of COVID. And last year, they canceled it still because COVID was still ongoing. However, they also canceled the Rival Run itself. They canceled the Rival Run, the Star Wars themed run itself. So we are finalizing what we are going to be doing as our kind of end game for this campaign, and we're going to announce it on the 30th. So it's going to be a big announcement. So I hope you guys can all join for that as well. But yeah, that's my little talk about October 30 and why it's so important, because we're going to be raising money for the American Cancer Society. And I'm going to be streaming for 24 plus hours, because there will be an opportunity to stream for 28. So just be ready for that. Delete any final thoughts before we sign out here?
No, I don't have much. Thanks for watching. And dealing with our tangents, if you will.
Cosines. They're cosines.
Cosine. There you go.
Tangents are too common.
Yeah.
We have cosines.
Secants. Secants and cosecants.
Now you're going overboard. No, just simple cosines. Wow. Simple cosines.
But that's it. That's all I got.
And I might do something with fruit snacks, because I have not had fruit snacks in 8 months, Scareth, because I have been dieting for the wedding and all of that. So I have not had fruit snacks or Twinkies in a very long time. So potentially there's something.
5 to 8 pounds right now?
What am I down in total? I have lost 10 pounds so far.
Wow. All right. It's closer with the 8.
Yeah, I'm good. It's gonna go higher in a little bit. I still haven't full dieted, because we have so many things going on. So on this Saturday, we're heading over to Tampa for an engagement party. So I'm I can't diet when we go out like that. And then these last few months, it was Karma's mom's birthday, Karma's dad's birthday, my dad's birthday. The following week is my mom's birthday. It's just it's just yeah, I can't diet. There's cake. It's just, yeah. So actually, starting November becomes a lot easier, except for Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It is the holiday of gluttony. And I have
Thanksgiving's a tough one to diet through.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Am I going to go normal, full-on gluttony, eat at 12 o'clock while watching the football game, then pass out, then wake up, the second football game is on, have another plate? Am I going to go full normal gluttony mode, or am I going to control myself? And I have a feeling I'm just going to go full gluttony and then just deal with it afterwards, because I love Thanksgiving. It is my favorite holiday. It is definitely
just go full laxative after and get rid of it super fast.
No, I'm not doing that. Awful.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So on that note, we're going to sign out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I hope you guys learned something, whether it's about the game or whether it's about Imodium or laxatives, whatever it is. Hope you guys picked up some new information watching us. And with that, I am Finn with Reality Skewed Gamers for Delete. Thank you guys so much for joining. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Again, no stream next week. So see you guys in 2 weeks. Hope to see you guys on October 30. And we're signing out. Take care, guys.
Rock on, Imodium.